So in studio today, I had a nice call last week. Axel Weber reached out, our friends from season 2 at KUKA. Here's my new KUKA. Did you get a look at this? Somebody on this? So we have the industrial robot, and we have the surgical robot. And for those that don't know, it's the white one. And Corey, did you put us together originally, or?
Actually, it was one of my applications guys. Mitch Skatosin helped out, and then we had a call with you originally, and then made the handover to headquarters. Yeah,
that was exciting. So when we got that call that day, actually, Mitch reached out via LinkedIn, and he's like, "Would you be interested?" I'm like, "Yeah." And and then we got on the call, and like we said, let's go out and go do the KUKA thing. So that was super fun. Season 2, Augsburg. And KUKA really opened up their kimono to us, which was fantastic. We had a lot of fun there. And we violated all the German rules we could while we were on campus.
We had fun as well. It was a pleasure to have you there.
Yeah. So the people who don't understand how KUKA fits into the medical device world, each of you, if you'd share, what's the journey, what's the mission, and what should we know about KUKA outside of you being a robotic company and probably top tier in the industrial world?
Maybe just shortly summarizing, we're building robotic components, robots like that we are offering for the medical technology industry that they can integrate into their medical devices. So we're not the experts in the medical application, but we're experts in robotics and motion control, to offer these to customers to work in a therapeutic, in a surgery environment, diagnostic environment, using robotic technology.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a robot either. It's motion control as well, right?
Yeah. Anything that comes up in the ideas of customers where they need to have some certain distinguished motion on the systems.
Got it. And Corey, you're field-based here. So, Axel, what is your title back in Germany?
Officially Vice President, Business Unit Medical Robotics.
Okay, thanks. And Corey?
I'm the Director of Medical Robotics for North America in KUKA. So, you hit the nail on the head. We're a motion control platform. Our customers come to us, and they understand an application. They have a vision to doing some kind of treatment or improving efficiency in a process that involves patients or medical equipment, medical devices. But they don't have the expertise to develop the motion control. So they kind of step in and they understand what people want to see. And we either directly or indirectly, we've got a partner network of over 150 integrators. So we'll either hook them up with an integrator partner or we'll do some projects ourselves, but we'll help them realize that dream of creating a device that involves motion.
Currently, what you can share, because I know there's some things that I signed an NDA that we can't share, but currently, what does KUKA sit at the center of or on board of that are commercial medical devices in the U.S.?
So Accuray is a great example. That's our longest running customer. The CyberKnife itself is manipulated by a KUKA robot. They also have a product called the Robo Couch, in which they buy gears, motors, a controller, and they assemble it in a configuration that they like. So it's not one of our standard robots. It's just a device that works for them. We own the majority of the patient positioning market for proton therapy, well over 90%. We do a lot of biomechanical testing projects. We have a partner at Cleveland Clinic that we work with for a lot of that. But we own the vast majority, I'd say above 90% in biomechanical testing as well. We have Census Healthcare here in Boca Raton that we came down to visit, and they're doing IORT. We've got restoration robotics.
What's, for our audience, IORT?
Intraoperative radiation therapy. Yeah. So they're delivering dose under the skin rather than irradiating from the top down, so they can deliver a much lower, much safer dose. Restoration Robotics is doing hair transplants and doing very well. They just got bought out by Venus Concept, so at some point they may be called Venus Concept, so we'll use both names. That's the majority of the U.S. I mean, we do a lot of startups. I probably got a dozen robots sitting in startups right now.
The crew here keeps on asking, is there a refurbished division at KUKA that we can get a KUKA Drink Master mixer here? They keep on asking. Right,
yeah.
Really for filming. Icky wants it for filming, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
probably can organize some demos or so, some testings.
So you have and in the beginning it was a challenge for me to understand because you bring the motion excellence into precision therapies here, whether it's diagnostic, therapeutic, or any of the above within healthcare. You bring that precision over decades and decades of expertise on the industrial side. But you don't claim any expertise on the clinical side, but it's got to be interesting for you to look at all these different therapies and imagine how your motion controls may work in, let's talk about the sensor, what's the name of the company?
Census
down
Healthcare.
here. Do you have to imagine in your mind how your robot or how your systems might be able to benefit them? So the handoff's got to be super cool.
A bit. So we have a bit of understanding. So we have an expert team at KUKA who has a background in medical technology. So there's an idea about how radiation therapy works. Several from us have been working for medical technology companies before, like GE, Siemens, BrainLab, and so on. So there is a background, but we don't know in detail the application. We see products of companies out there that we're then trying to address and saying, hey, didn't you think about using this your device with a robot? Yeah? And then in sitting together, there coming up ideas. Okay, what can your robot do? And once we show them what the functionalities are, they come up with new ideas. Okay, that's what I potentially could do as well with the system.
Mm-hmm. And what's your biggest surprise that you've had as this big ramp up of robotics has occurred in the medical device industry? Has there been one or two things that you've said, didn't see that coming?
Sometimes it takes much more time developing a medical product, and it's sometimes not the robot the key part of it. But developing in new applications with new technologies, lasers, cutters, etc. That takes a lot of time getting clinical trials, FDA approvals. So up to the point where these devices go to market, it takes, sometimes it's very fast, 2-3 years, but sometimes we're working with a customer now for 8 years and who has not yet received the approval.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Corey?
Yeah. I think the biggest surprise has been the heat in the market for medical robotics. I mean, there's startups popping up everywhere. The valuations of some of these companies. I mean, even we shake our head and go, how can a company that's never sold anything be worth $500 million or $1 billion? It's very interesting for us because as we're trying to look at the market and decide what makes sense, you have to really rethink what used to make sense 10 years ago because 10 years ago that never would have happened. Now people are adamant, and there's a lot of companies that actually want to use the term medical robot regardless of what they're doing just because the market's hot. So it's a good place to be right now, and we're certainly seeing the benefits of that.
Just for financing, they use the word robotics, right?
No, your cable on the table.
Oh, my cable on the table. See that? Housekeeping, cable on the table. Whoa, that's a good sound. So I've been beating this drum for a while, and I'm just curious if you've seen any of this come. I think we're going to hit an impasse with the large format robots. I think that intuitive certainly is the platinum standard that started, over a decade ago. And then, Warren Robotics, which is now Verb, followed that. And then, of course, Hugo with Medtronic followed that. But if you do the math backwards, there's only so many companies that can really sell, support, maintain, and do product development on a large format robot. You've got to have annual sales in general from the organization of billions of dollars, because it's really the peripheral, the disposable side that you're going to be making some cash on. And your robot's like the razor blade, you could say. So I think we're going into a sort of disposable robot market very, very soon. You've seen already Intuitive come down to a single port. From what I understand, Verb is rethinking their entire format as well. And I'm not sure, where Hugo is going to end up. But I do believe we're going to have a broader swim lane on that. Have you seen any indication, or you mentioned startups? Do you see any sort of change there?
I
Again,
think
not with KUKA business, because I don't want to get us, but
Yeah.
in general, what do you feel?
No, I definitely think the market, I mean, they're looking for more cost competition, absolutely. And so that more disposable, more low cost, simpler solution is definitely coming. We get price pressure all the time, and some of it's very legitimate. I mean, what we sell is a very high-end robot, but we can do lower cost options as well. But I think people are coming out now with very interesting ideas, but they're not all the multi-million-dollar life-saving idea. They're just better. And so I agree. I think a lot of people are coming up with that better mousetrap, and now they have to have something that sort of fits into that swim lane. And it's absolutely part of the market that we're seeing grow.
And especially if you, at a certain point, can design a robot that fits perfectly for an application, you can have a certain cost down and make it just working for this certain use case.
And we're watching medtech and healthcare get reimagined right now. So when I think about a robot and I think about our classic robot format, I'm not sure that is the future of the home run in medtech. I think the controlling of motion in a high precision environment in an affordable package that potentially is partially reusable or disposable. And so that fits into your swim lane as well. I mean, you're really a precision delivery system company that right now is declaring itself on a robot.
Yeah, and one of the things that you struggle with, we get asked all the time, who's your biggest competition? And the answer is build it yourself, because what we build is a general purpose robotic solution that will do most applications very, very well. But if you have a singular application that has very high tolerances or very unusual specifications, nobody's going to build a general product for that. So, the balance for customers is, do you want to spend all the time developing your own robot that is very specialized, that does exactly what you want, and your per unit cost will be lower? Or do you want to buy something off the shelf that can get you to market potentially in 18 months and spend very much lower development money? And as well, be potentially open to a Gen 2. What I see a lot of is people build this very specific solution, and they go, we're going to bolt this feature on there, and they're like, not with this, we're back to the drawing board, starting over. So, with us, we kind of keep an eye to the general specifications of a customer rather than just trying to look at what exactly do you want to do in this one little part of your project, because eventually there will be more. There will be a Gen 2 that's going to have some accommodation there.
I look at KUKA, and I've been on sort of spreading this word as we continue to move into this very rapidly evolving medtech world. I mean, I've been at it 30 years. We have never had the acceleration of technologies right now, thanks to software, thanks to AI, thanks to ML, just never before. And I would say that KUKA falls right in that case study, that sweet spot is, let's be careful not be defined by what we make, but let's be defined by what we do. And that precision that you're able to deliver, and I'm bringing this up because we one of the shoots we finished up, and then we went out with the engineering team to the beer garden. What beer garden was that? You were with us. Do you guys remember where that was? Yeah. It's and I had all your engineers around us. It was great. We were brainstorming, and I said, if I owned KUKA, I would take like 7 to 10 of these crackerjack engineers and like 1 or 2 brilliant free-thinking marketing people, and I would set them loose. And I would just say, just give me operating income, and then let me go out and partner with all these emerging tech startups that are trying to get some sort of motion control at a high precision in their product. And again, I don't care if it's workflow tracking in the OR or a disposable robot used in peripheral vascular, and then just give me 5% of your company, and I'll do all the lift on all the precision movement on your product. And at the end of 3 years, I'm going to be worth more than all of KUKA. That is, I don't know if you were there. I could have been drunk, but I'm thinking that if I was in the KUKA camp right now, and the execs who are going to, maybe look at this, I would not be defined by what I make, by what I do, and then I would look at the track and the trajectory of medtech, and medtech's being reimagined right now, and this is fabulous. It's rear view, and I don't think the future of medtech growth is going to be there. I think it's going to be in the motion control, the high precision that you deliver, and the decades of learnings that you have, and then just how do we arrange that to get into, because I don't know if there's many organizations, Intuitive Surgical has the best robotic teams in the world on medical, no question about it. Gary's built that. Outside of that, though, there's not a heat map that exists to come up with those solutions. And I think venture capitalists, and I think that entrepreneurs would love to have an expert on board that they're like, solve that problem. Take that wire, be able to move that wire back and forth, be able to spin it around, and be able to do that for $42 per unit. And your lab can solve those problems all day long and probably keep the IP. But I'm sitting in a recruiting office. What the hell do I know?
Yeah, but a trend is there. It's also what we see as customers or potential customers are coming and saying, it's nice what you have, but that doesn't fit my requirements. And then we're sitting together and think about, okay, what could be a solution? In the end, we're a company. It has to fly, and it's difficult. It's just a startup with 1 or 2 guys and having something crazy in mind to work this out in detail. We need to get the resources of the overall KUKA and need to see in which direction we could bring this. But we're working there with customers, and we do also customized systems, call it like that, that we are adapting or building according to their needs.
Yeah. What's the craziest robot that KUKA's ever made? I know you got some crazy commercials, but it's sort of a little CGI-ish. But
personally, I think besides the medical, it's the entertainment business. Putting some chairs on a robot, then you can sit in and program it in advance, and then it takes you and spins you.
It's like a Disney ride or something like that.
Yeah, the Harry Potter rides are KUKA robots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you're sitting on KUKA robots on a rail going through, and people don't even realize it. Absolutely.
Wow.
And there's a great video that somebody did in an office one time. KUKA does it professionally and properly. There's a great video that came out years ago of somebody strapping an office chair to a robot, and it was the scariest thing you've ever seen because, at literally breakneck speed, the guy's head comes about 4 inches from the floor. And so when that came out, it was kind of funny. Everybody in our office was looking at it, and people go, "That's never going to fly." And we were like, "Well, we're already doing it. It's a product here, and we got a guy that'll sell it to you." So
with different safety standards.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we do things like X-ray the castings to make sure that there's no flaws or imperfections.
Sure.
The safety concept is enormous for those rides, but it's cool stuff.
Yeah.
How about, are those Boston Dynamics videos true, where you have the robot? Because I've seen the CGI side of that, but some of the things that are coming out there with the robot that you see on YouTube are just way, way, way out there, and I just don't. It doesn't look like real robotic motion to me. Are you the one? The ones I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can't say definitively. I'm pretty skeptic.
Yeah,
I'm not jumping on board.
Some definitely, but I assume there are several things, at least parts, that are real. Even if they're not shown yet.
Well, I mean, you
but
guys,
definitely.
Yeah, you guys have the most amazing labs. I got inside the skunk works there and the labs there, and if you think that it's probably then I'm gonna agree with you, because some of the things I'm like, come on, that's just if that really worked, half the world would be disappearing right now.
Yeah.
So how long are you in town for?
To tomorrow.
Okay.
So
4 clients. 48 hours.
right.
You're a stud. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. And Corey, you're usually out of Milwaukee.
Correct. Yeah.
Do a lot of traveling.
Yeah, I'm here this week. I'm going to be at the Disruptive. I'm going to the office for a couple days next week, and then on the weekend following, I'm going to be at the Disruptive Surgical Technology Conference.
Cool.
So
I'll see you there.
a couple days at home in between each and back out. But
Good. Well, listen, I thank you, gentlemen, for coming in studio today and reaching out. The fact that you're in the neighborhood makes me feel good that you're like, hey, we want to drop by. So thanks so much.
Thanks for inviting us. It was a
Always,
pleasure.
always. And
Yeah.
safe travels. I'll see you soon.
Yeah,
Thanks. We appreciate the visit.
Thanks.